Hello, it's Duncan. This is going to be a super short episode on how long it takes to run our tests. When I edit these videos, I tend to cut out the amount of time it takes to run tests and to compile because I don't suppose you want to see it. But that editing is getting a bit tedious, and even without it, it would be nice to get feedback quicker. So I thought I'd have a look at where the time is going in our test running. This is typical really, 862 milliseconds to run all the tests, and considering how few there are of them, only 51, that seems to be an awful long time. If we drill down, we can see the test that takes the longest here is list stock tests, and in fact is the first one of those. So let's go and have a look. Well, it doesn't seem to be doing much. It's creating a fixture, it's writing and so on, but all the other tests are doing that, and they're only taking 22 milliseconds. So that's a little strange. Let's drill a little further. We've got roots for, let's have a look in there. And what we find if we work our way down is that actually the thing that's taking time is this logging analytics. And logging analytics here, by default, has a logging object mapper. And what's actually happening is that the initialization of Jackson is taking almost all of this time here. Configuring the object mapper itself takes hardly any time. It's actually this very first call to anything in Jackson. Now, I've tried various things to fix that, and none of them have worked very well. But one thing that has worked is allowing JUnit to run the tests in parallel. So we just run them again. This time over a second. But with a little play with JUnit platform properties, I've discovered that if we enable parallel test running, run all of the tests in one class on the same thread, but allow tests in different classes to run concurrently, then our tests run considerably quicker. I don't know quite why that works, but you can see that our list stock tests have gone right down. I think the time is being spent somewhere else, but there's no single test that takes the amount of time that the previous one did. Run that again just to be sure. 800 milliseconds, 700 milliseconds. You can hear my fan is whirring probably. So the processor is doing quite a bit of work, but we have at least subjectively quicker tests. Now, this can only work, of course, if you can run your tests in parallel, which means that they can't talk to a database and assume that nothing changes in between them. They can't read and write to the file system in a way where tests would interfere with each other. They can't use global state in any way that tests would interfere with each other. But luckily, our code base, it seems, doesn't suffer from any of those problems, which is a nice feature of functional programming. So we can just commit this change and save ourselves a little chunk of a second every time we run the tests, and quite a bit of editing for Duncan. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, I think you'll enjoy the book that I wrote with that price called Java to Kotlin, a Refactoring Guidebook. And if you want to see the next episode, which will be on error handling, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.